everyone to the GBS-CIDP Foundation International's July Ask the Experts. My name is Pamela Franks, and with me today is our Regional Director, San Antonio Area Liaison and Adaptive Device Expert Extraordinaire, Julie Bell. And then also joining us behind the scenes today is going to be Chelsea Fix and Ellie Herman from our Advocacy Department. Today's topic for our discussion today is going to be what's new in adaptive devices. Before we begin today, I just want to thank our sponsors who support the Ask the Expert series. And it's through their generous support that we're able to bring you these informative and educational webinars. We do have some questions already for Julie today, but if you do have a question, we want you to type that question into the Q&A box, which is located at the bottom of your screen. If we don't get to your question today, we will follow up with an email after the program. At the end of the program, we will reserve a few minutes for people to ask their question live. And to do this, we'll ask that you locate the icon to raise your hand, and then one of our team will press the buttons that will allow you to speak on the webinar to ask your question. So if you think you'd like to do that later on, find that icon now and then be ready to raise your hand later on in the session. Finally, this program is meant to be educational. We cannot troubleshoot individual cases during the webinar or give personalized medical advice about your GBS, CIDP, or MMN diagnosis. If we don't get to your question, you can always email us at info@gbs-cidp.org. Now, Julie, we know that it can be a life-changing when someone receives a diagnosis of one of our conditions, and that recovery can take a long time. Many can be left with residuals or experience mobility issues as they get older or their condition progresses. Couple that with the stigma that surrounds the use of adaptive aids. How can a patient keep a positive and open mind when they realize that they need help or they need to rely on adaptive devices?
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I want to tell you about my background super quick. I am a special education teacher by trade. I taught special education for 23 years. I also had the privilege at the age of 9 to volunteer at a children's hospital, and there were children that were wards of the state there at the hospital. So I was actually adapting toys as a child about the age of 9 for other children, such as Barbie dolls and cars for quadriplegics who could only move their heads. So this has kind of always been a passion of mine ever since that time. And I'm not promoting any specific product. I don't work for any of these companies. These are just things that I have found over the years. So back to Pam's question. I think I've had CIDP for 28 years. So I've had a long time to digest what my body has done and what my body is continuing to do. I know some of you are newly diagnosed. Some of you may not even have a full diagnosis yet. Some of you may have a diagnosis that you've had for years. The first thing is to be able to grasp the concept that you have this chronic inflammatory disease, or in the case of GBS, that you have a disease that you can possibly recover from, but you may have some residual effects. I would like for you guys to think about how many of us right now are wearing glasses. I know I'm wearing glasses. Why do you wear glasses? Well, glasses are an adaptive way for you to see. Without your glasses, you can't see. So you need an adaptive device like glasses or contacts in order to see. Same thing with people who wear hearing aids. How many of you have hearing aids? You wear hearing aids because your hearing is no longer very good. Therefore, you need an adaptive device to help with the hearing. I also look at adaptive devices as energy conservation. If I'm going to the store, I would much rather ride around in the buggy to get my groceries, because I know when I get home, I'm the one that has to put the groceries away. So therefore, I'm conserving energy when I'm in the store, and I'm using the scooter because when I get home, I'm going to have to walk and take those groceries inside and put them away myself. I look at my handicap parking placard as extra special parking. Instead of, oh my gosh, she's disabled and she can't walk very far, therefore she has to park in one of those spots. So it's about being smart, and it's about thinking about conserving your energy. It's much safer to use a scooter, a cane, a walker, a rollator, any of those type of adaptive equipment than it is for you to not use them. I would much rather see somebody using an adaptive device than falling flat on their face and hurting something else, breaking hips, arms, bones, whatever. So you might reconsider your thought process in thinking about adaptive equipment. And though we all use stuff all the time, some is more visible than others, but embrace it, use it, and think about energy conservation.
Right. You spoke about being able to go out and do those type of tasks, gaining back some independence from relying on the use, or rather on others to do things for you, I assume has to be very uplifting for you. Is that how that was for you? I mean, you're a mom, you raised a family, you have grandkids. You know, some of these devices that we'll see today, I would assume help, you perform those daily tasks.
Yes, by using the different devices, some that we will see has helped me perform daily tasks. It's helped me to be as independent as I possibly can at this stage in my life, which I hope to be independent for a long time. And it's simple gadgets and gizmos, but I know without them, I don't have anybody else in the house to say, hey, can you open this jar for me? Can you open this bottle of water? And I don't want to have to go to the neighbors all the time and ask them to do that. So these are just a little sample of ways that I've adapted things.
Without further ado, do you want to start showcasing some of the devices and gadgets?
Sure. One of the things that we'll start with is I'm going to start with some bathroom things that I like. First of all, I have wonderful parents that help me put in a roll-in shower. So that's nice, meaning that I can take a wheelchair all the way into the shower, or I can walk in and transfer, or roll in and transfer. I have a shower bench. I have a pull-down shower sprayer. My neighbor told me, because my sprayer hose was not long enough, you can buy extra long hoses. So it's very neat to be able to have those. But things that I have found, because I like to stand up in the shower when I can, is if I'm holding on to the shower bar with one hand, and you can see my hands are very affected by my CIDP. And so I'll hold onto the shower handle with one hand, and then that leaves me with one hand to try to shampoo and do everything else. So one of my favorite products that I have is called a body brush, and a company named Blushly makes the body brush. And what's nice is it has interchangeable heads. So this is a loofah head. I can pull that right off. I can grab the softer head, which I actually use this to clean my face. It's rubber bristles. So I use that to clean my face. And then they have other heads, which one is, and I'll show you the other heads. One is a brush with a loofah in the middle. I mean, not a loofah, a pumice stone in the middle. And the other one is just a brush. So here's one with a pumice stone in the middle. And here is one that's just a brush. And the nice thing about this brush is it's battery operated, and I can actually push the button. And instead of having to trying to keep balance and holding on to a bar, it actually does the motion for me of doing the scrubbing. So I can still be safe holding a bar and then being able to clean my body with the body brush as I'm showering. And so it takes less effort. It's safer. It has 2 speeds, and then it shuts off. And then you saw how easy it was to change the heads. So that's one of my favorite bathroom appliances.
Yeah, that was going to be my That was going to be my next question. What was the ease of, I know you've showcased that product at our symposium before, but it looks fairly easy to switch out
Yes.
the heads.
It's very easy to switch out when you have to change batteries. The loop at the bottom, you just untwist it and it comes right out, and you put AA batteries. And so it's very, very simple to use. You can buy replacement heads. I personally love it. I think it's a great, safer product for me to use when I'm in the shower.
Julie, really quick before we start with the next product, we do have a question from an audience member. How do you reconcile the feeling of being less than your former self now that you have to use an adaptive device? This person in particular uses AFOs and a rollator.
Okay, I also have AFOs, which I'll highlight those in just a minute. And I use a rollator sometimes. I don't consider it being less than myself. I consider it being a different self. We talk about everything being a new norm. And I'm so grateful that I can get up out of bed and that I can do the things that I can do. And I don't consider it less than myself to use a rollator and to wear the AFOs. It's a safety thing, like we talked about before. I'd much rather do that than land flat on my face. And for example, yesterday, I didn't take a rollator with me, and I was picking my granddaughter up from a vacation Bible school, and I had to stand in line for like 15 minutes because they didn't let anybody inside early. Then I'm in a crowd of people and I'm trying to walk, and I need wider space for a larger gait. Having a rollator shows people, or a cane or a walker, that you need a little extra space. So it's also a visual warning to other people, you know. And we walked through a little tunnel, and there was a rubber strip to cover electrical cords that I didn't see. And I almost stumbled and fell, and I grabbed onto the person next to me, not even knowing who they were. And luckily I grabbed an arm and not any other body part. But in those situations, I thought that was really stupid. I should have brought my rollator, because it was a long distance walking, having those little obstacles. And I was exhausted by the time I went and got her and then got back to the car. So it's just accepting it as this is the way it is. And this is a lot better than not being able to walk and not having broken hips and legs and other things like that. So we're going to move on, if that's okay. I'm going to go into dressing aids real quick. One of my favorite tools, and you're going to just have to excuse me because I've got stuff set out on my table, so I'm getting up and down. I'll try to keep that to a minimum. I'm putting a sweater on real quick because I want to show you one of my tools that I really like. And a lot of you may have seen these before, is button aids and zipper aids. So I have three different, I'm going to show each of them to you. They're the same device, but they're different. This one is more of a weighted substance in the middle. There's a hook on one end, and I don't know if you can see the buttonhole at the other end. Same thing, but this is on a wooden dowel. We have the hook here. Let me turn it so you can see it. Hook here. We have the buttonhole at this end. This happens to be a portable one. It's plastic, and it's got the zipper and the buttonhole, and it fits very great into a pocket. So since this is the one that I have in front of me, we'll use this one real quick to button a button on the sweater. Let me adjust my camera real quick. So here I'm going to do this. I have a buttonhole. I slide the metal through the buttonhole. I grab the button and I easily pull this through. And then I just do like that. Whoops, lost it. It takes practice sometimes, and even but I don't buy things with buttons very often. So, and I just unbutton it. But you see how that worked?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I like. And then another thing that I really enjoy, which I'm going to change again, is I have, with the zipper, I have my handy dandy jacket.
Ooh, your GBS Symposium
My
jacket.
GBS, and you see what I did. I got mine monogrammed. So you would normally put your zipper into the zipper part, which sometimes takes a little practice. But now I'm having a hard time pulling the zipper up. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to loop the zipper through the hook. And I'm going to make sure that that bottom is in there. And sometimes I get frustrated with things, but as you see, for me to just try to get this started can be a difficult process. Okay, I got it started just a little bit. Now I can use the zipper pull, hold the garment, and then I can zip that all the way up. All right. So pretty easy use. Then I can use it to unzip. One of the other things that we have that I really like, it's called a zipper pull. It's just a tiny little device. It's got a little plastic thing on the end. It's got a loop at the top. My jacket doesn't have a zipper pull on it, but I'm going to put one on and show you how easy it is to adapt this jacket. Slide the loop through, slide the tail through over the top. I'm going to pull it. And now my jacket is easier to zip. I didn't need the hook. I now have a tab on here that makes it easier for me to pull up and down. So just to give you an example of how those work. So that's a couple different devices there. While I'm changing clothes, I might as well continue to change clothes. I discovered a company called Magna Ready. And this company has magnetic adaptive clothing. And it is really the coolest thing. I have a shirt here that comes open all the way. So if I were in a wheelchair, someone would be able to, or maybe I would be able to, put it behind me in the chair. All right. Put one arm through, put the other arm through, and actually I don't even have, yeah, okay. So both arms are through. So the top lays flat out. All right. Then I take and I magnetize this underneath, and the magnets are here in the shoulders. So that magnetized to that. Whoops, wrong way. This side first. And you can't wear these if you have a pacemaker, unfortunately. But for those of you that don't have a pacemaker, well, I'm having a great time magnetizing. There we go. It just popped. There's a little piece of Velcro, so that can Velcro right to this other piece here. And then more magnets up on top. And then the top is on. It's kind of weird with the other top on, but the top is on. So it's basically, I don't have it pulled down on the back either. So it's basically almost like a little wraparound. Well, it is like a wraparound top. There's also men's shirts that have magnetic buttons all the way up. So that's just another one. And this actual top, and I have another top that will be at the Symposium in October, and you just might be able to win in a raffle a couple of shirts. The next adaptive device that I found, oddly enough, and in San Antonio, we don't really use winter gloves very often, but I have gloves, and I was looking for something because I have a hard time putting my hands in if I were just to have to put them straight into a glove. These are actually called Andy and Evan, and they're made for children, but I got the children's largest size, and they zip on both sides, so they open up. So I can then take my hand, I'm going to do it down here so you can see.
I got to assume that's much easier than trying to work your hand into.
Yes. All right. So my fingers are in, my thumb is in, And then you can basically, and I would add zipper pulls to this, and I haven't, but you get the concept. Then you basically would zip one side and then zip the other. So that's another different thing. One of my favorite all-time things I'm going to see if I can show you my foot first. I'm wearing my ankle foot orthotics and I'm wearing my shoes. Now I just happen to have an old ankle foot orthotic and a shoe to show you. I'm trying to get the best view. Sorry. Let me hold this up.
And is this one of Billy's shoes? Because these shoes are amazing.
Yes, these are called Billy's footwear. And Billy is an individual who out of necessity came up with these shoes because he himself is in a wheelchair. And these shoes unzip from the side and they unzip all the way around. And then they open up kind of like a sardine can is how I phrase that. So here's the AFO in the shoe. And then you pick your AFO out. So here's the shoe. I need my Vanna, but she's at work. So I have my shoe. I put the AFO in the shoe. Simple and easy. It's in. And then you take it and just zip it right back up like you had before. And there you go. So that's one of my favorite shoes. He makes many different styles of shoes. They come in children's, women's, men's.
They were very popular last year, were they not?
Yes. They come in wide, and now he has an extra wide. And I say there's lots of styles. I have a pair of hiking boots. I have boots that have fur lining. He has slippers. He has like summer type, water type shoes. There's just tons of shoes. And again, this year he's going to be donating some gift cards, as well as if you attend the symposium, a special code where you would get a percentage off on your purchase. So, oh, I saw a quick question. When did I start wearing AFOs? I can answer that real quick. I've been in AFOs for probably 15 years. So it's been a while. All right.
Really quick, we have another question. This person wants to know, does anyone know of any cool looking Band-Aids to cover a chest port when wearing summer tops? They're just really tired of trying to hide it. Do you know of anything?
I guess my question is, does it really stick out that much that it bothers you? Because I wear summer tops a lot and I don't have, my port's here and it's not really, doesn't really stick out and show, but I would think if you really felt like you needed to cover it, I know, I can't think of the name of the company. I'll think of it when I'm not thinking. We can get back to you on that, but there is a company. It's not out of the United States, but they sell them all over the place and they have all sorts of fun, different Band-Aids. Welly, there we go. I knew I would think of it. Welly, okay. WHELLY, I believe. And they have all sorts of different stuff. All right, so I want to move on from dressing aids and adaptive clothing. Let's go on to kitchen stuff and eating things. So one of the things that I happened to find at my Dollar Tree, this is a sponge and you think, oh, woohoo. Well, no, this is a great sponge because as you can tell, it's got the little indentation here. And so it makes it easier for someone like myself to hold the sponge because I can hold it like that when I'm cleaning my dishes rather than just having a flat sponge. If I hold it on this side, it's harder to hold. So this way it's easier to hold. And I just came across that and realized that this morning. All right, one of the next things I have when I'm trying to get something out of the oven, we found these, I got these on QVC, I believe. These are, instead of having oven mitts, these are actually oven grabbers. And I have a hard time wearing it like this. I still have to adapt the way I do it. But oven grabbers, and what they actually are for too, is there's different like little spikes in here. So if you were cutting meat, you could take and hold the meat with the actual silicone
So
glove.
it has more than one use.
Yeah.
You're saying.
Yes, and I can't really hold this very well, but with a silicone glove, and then you can be holding your meat and then cutting your meat with the other hand. So it's just something different. I also don't use the full oven mitts. I use the tiny little mitts that are the short mitts. Trying to get stuff out of the oven. As far as adaptive eating utensils, I look for things with larger handles. So this is a larger handled knife. It's very nice and easier to grip than a regular handle. Fork and a spoon, and they sometimes will come in a set. Sometimes you have to buy them separately. So, and these just have the larger handle, regular old fork, knife, and spoon. And those are rubbery handles. The next set that I have is angled, excuse me. And the reason why it's angled is, one second. The reason why it's angled is to make it easier to get it to your mouth. I'm going to show you with the other fork real quick. So I've got the fork in my hand. I'm going down to get a bite of food, and I'm having to take it and bring it like this to my mouth. And my arm is bending like it is. With this fork, the fork itself is angled. So I get a piece of meat. When I pick it up, it's already ready to go to my mouth. I don't have to make that weird turn with the utensil. So it's pick up and it goes right to the mouth. Same thing with this angled spoon. Scoop my food, goes right to the mouth. I love this knife. It's nice and safe. It's an angled knife, so you can hold it this way to cut, or I hold it like this when I'm cutting my food, and it can rock back and forth to cut food. So it just makes things easier, energy conservation. Do I take them to restaurants? You bet I do. I put them in a Ziploc bag. I actually keep a set at my mom's house because I go to eat with her a lot or eat there. I keep a set at my daughter's house because I eat there and go with her a lot, and I keep a set at home. Do I use them every time I eat? No. But there are times when my hands are working better than other times. Also, OXO makes great products with large grips. This is my peeler. I was peeling a cucumber last night, and it's just so much easier and ergonomic to hold. I can hold it like that. I can hold my cucumber and peel, and it just makes it nice and easy. So OXO makes a lot of good large handled items. Let's see.
Julie, do they make, I know for some writing instruments they do, but do they make ones that can be put onto existing cutlery?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Or at least not that I'm aware of. Now, I just happened to find these. I shop around, and not that I was looking for this, but I really hate using glass measuring cups because I'm afraid I'm going to drop them. And as we know, glass on tile floors, not a good thing because the glass goes everywhere. So I happened to be walking around Walmart one day, and I always go check their discount aisle. And I found these. These are actually silicone measuring cups. And I have to look at the brand is Prep Solutions. And got them for a big whopping $4. But I love them. And there's 3 different sizes. So here's one. It's all silicone. It's easier to hold. If I have to hold it with 2 hands, I can. If I have to hold it with 1 hand, I can. I can pour, not gonna matter. It's not heavy. Even with water in it, it's not heavy. There's a middle size and then a smaller size. And then they all stack within each other. So that was just something that I found random, but knew it'd be great for me to use in the kitchen.
They're really good sizes too.
Yeah, the biggest is 2 cups. And then the middle, I think, is a 1 cupper. And then 2 cups, 1 cup, and then I believe half a cup. All right, let's get down to some good stuff here. I cannot open jars. It's just something that is not going to happen for me. So I have devices that will help open jars. And I'm going to angle this down so you can Well, I guess I'll have to do this differently. Hold on. Let me see. I'll hold it. Let me get this. This is a push button electric jar opener. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this jar of pickles using the opener. And I think I can do it this way. Let's see. All right. Now you can see the jar. Whoops. All right. My computer's freaking out because it doesn't want me to. Okay. So we can see the jar. I'm going to place this jar opener on top. I'm pushing a button and holding for a few seconds. And what happens is the inside grabs the jar, the outside goes in to grab the jar. Nope, it came open. Hold on. I let go too soon. Okay, so the inside's grabbing the jar. The outside's grabbing the jar. And then the device should be turning. Nope, it's going backwards on me. And see, it's turning and it just
Here you go.
So, and now it's opening itself back up. So that was pretty quick and easy. So that's one of the favorite things that I have for opening jars. Another thing that I have for opening jars, even though we know this one is already open, is a little plastic device called a poppet, a jar poppet. And it has the hole like that. It has the little lip there and the nice wooden handle, and you can take it and pop the seal on the jar. And once you pop the seal on the jar and you hear it pop, then it's easier to open. It's the same concept. My mom used to take a knife and hit a knife along the sides of the jar to break the seal. So it's the same type of concept. So that's a jar opener. I also have another jar opener that's a manual jar opener. And even though we know that this has already technically been opened, this opener, I have a handle. I turn the handle, put it around the jar. Once I get it tight around the jar, then I use leverage and I pop the jar lid open. So that's how I use that one. Don't break the jar of pickles. This also, it has more than one use. With this particular jar opener, there is a hole in the middle here. And this hole, I can stick my pinky through, but it would be, say, to open up a toothpaste lid, or if you have an ointment or a cream where you can't get the lid off, you can stick it in there and open it up. This is for a bottle. So if you need a can opener to open a bottle up with, this is for like a can of tuna or a flip top lid. Some of the soups have the flip top lid, and you flip it, or even a can of soda, and you stick it under the ring and pull, and it pops it up. So that's another little device. A new device I've added to my kitchenware. This is a chopper, and it's a 3-blade chopper. QVC, one of my favorite shopping places for my mom and I. And you basically put whatever you're going to chop down on a table. I guess I'm going to do it like this. And then all I'm doing is I'm popping the chopper up and down. And as I pop the chopper up and down, the blade is coming down, and it's not a sharp blade, but that helps to chop everything up. So that for me is much easier than having to use a knife and trying to do it that way. Safer for me as well. Let's see.
Julie, we have someone asking, and I don't mean to like jump ahead
that's
if
fine.
you're going to discuss this. Do you have any recommended adaptive devices to help driving easier?
Oh, yes, I do. I do. And I don't know exactly what in terms of easier you mean, but for me, I buy the steering wheel that has the, I buy a steering wheel cover that has the softer, they even have like the Tempur-Pedic type ones, the memory foam. And so I'll put that, I won't put it on, but I'll get usually if you go to AutoZone or something and I really need your help, they'll help you put it on. But get a steering wheel cover. And then I also use a boppy pillow, one of the breastfeeding pillows.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm okay driving for a while, but my arms get tired. And so by using the boppy, I can put the boppy around my middle waist. And I'm trying to see if mine's over here somewhere real quick. I don't see it within range right now, but I would put the boppy around the middle of my waist and then I can rest my arms on the boppy while I'm driving. And make sure that there's enough room between you and the steering wheel, but never thought I'd be using a breastfeeding pillow to drive with. So that helps. I hope that answered that question. Now, one of the things that I found just the other day, I'm going to just do it this way. This is a little opener for a soda can. And it's dual purpose because you can open a soda can and then when you're outside, you can swing it around and the bugs won't get into your drink. So here's the soda can. I'm going to slide the tab underneath here. Yep. Then I'm going to flip it forward. And you heard that can open up. All right. So now that it's open, whoops. Don't pour soda on.
Fill it on the computer.
Right. Then you can take it and swivel it around and it will provide not a tight seal, but a close enough seal for your can to keep the bugs and things out. So you can kind of see how it's closing the hole. So that's just something else that I found very inexpensive. Let's see. One of the things that I use for water bottles, because water bottles are difficult to open. I have multiple choices. This is actually a nutcracker, a metal nutcracker, and I really didn't know what it was. A friend gave it to me a long time ago and I'd taken the spring out because I've been using it to open bottles of water. And I can basically take it, put it on top of the water, and then use the torque on the handle to turn it, and it'll pop off. So that's option one. I have a little device that I found on Amazon that slides right over the tops of the water bottles, has the little bitty handle on the side. You also have a little hole for a key ring, and then you can take it and twist and the water cap will come off. This is another opener, and this is a double actually it's a three-way opener. This has the tip for your cans. This has the circle for your bottles. This also has a little hook on it so that if you needed, like sometimes you can't get the tab even up. So this will also help get the tab up from the bottle and kind of help you pull it up. And then you can use that to open it. This is very simple and easy, can also fit in a pocket or a purse. And you just put it around the handle and then you can twist it and open the lid. And then the third thing that I have that I like is, this is called a mini grip. And it's basically a silicone grip with a jump ring on it. And I can take it And it's very easy then to put it around the top of the jar or the bottle and twist and open it up. So those are 3 different things there. Let's go into a few of my other things that are kind of household items, things that work great. And then we'll get into some recreational stuff, because recreation is also important to keep our sanity and give us things to do when we maybe are not feeling fantastic, but still need to do some things. I'm going to show you something that is a necessity for me, particularly with the grandkids. This is called a, let me slide it out of this holder. This is a car seat opener, and this one is called I think the baby bumper, and it has a little stem, and it also kind of looks like a hand. And what you're able to do then is you take the bumper, and I have my little model here, my little bear, and he's in his car seat all buckled up. I can never get those buckles undone with my thumbs. I don't have the dexterity to do that. And what makes it nice is I can push this right on the red dot, pull down, and it's unbuttoned just that quick. This is good even for people who have arthritis, elderly people, all of that makes it very nice and easy. Same type thing, device. This different device is called the Unbuckle Me. And this same kind of concept, it's a little device. It also has a little holder if you want to put it on a key ring. You know, what I usually do is I keep them in the side of the door in the back seat where the grandchildren are. So then that way, when I need to grab it, it's right there. Or you could tie a string on it, tie it around the headrest or something, so it's there at all times. Same type concept. This I find sometimes is a little easier because you have a little more leverage. So I take it, I line up the little bumper with the red dot. And then I'm able to take this, push, and you pull down kind of at the same time. If I missed that one side, there we go. And then that's undone. So just another device to make things a little easier. One thing that I've done myself, because I know buckles are hard to reach sometimes, like in my daughter's car, or even sometimes in my car, you can get seatbelt extenders that are just the buckle, I guess the metal piece that goes into the buckle, the existing buckle, and then it has another buckle on top of it. So it only extends it like this big. But it makes all that difference if you have a car where your buckle's kind of hidden way down. It's easier because it brings it up. So I use that also with my granddaughter's booster seat because it makes it easier for her to buckle and unbuckle.
Julie, really quick, because we're probably gonna move to see, we have a couple of people that you want to ask questions live, but there was a question that someone put in the chat. They wanted to know if there are any good computer aids like keyboards, mouse. I know you usually have the tech.
Okay. One of the things that I found, because somebody asked me at the last symposium about a keyboard that had bigger numbers on it. And so this is a keyboard that makes it easier to type. It has a USB connection, so I can put it into my laptop right now and start typing with it. That makes it very easy. So there are things such as that. I don't use a mouse and I don't have an ergonomic mouse, but I know they make ergonomic mice that are much bigger and easier to use. I don't know how many of you, I have a hard time with lights. I cannot switch lights on and off. So I actually have a device here. It can be bought at your hardware store, and it comes with, this one has 3 units, and it comes with a 3 different outlets numbered 1, 2, and 3. And I use this all the time. And this is how I turn my lights on and off. So I'm going to use number 3 because it's right by me. And you see a light, it got brighter. So then I can push it off. So it just makes it easier on and off. Okay. Then another thing that I also have done is I have smart switches. And smart switch is very simple. You have just a plug, and these aren't even associated necessarily with a certain Alexa or anything like that. They can just be used with a lot of the smart plugs, but I do use Alexa to turn the light on. So I can say, Alexa, turn on window.
Okay.
And so she just turned on my light for me. Alexa, turn window off.
Okay.
So just some basic things. So I know for me in my bedroom, I use a smart switch so that I can just say lights on, lights off, and she'll take care of that for me. So just some simple things. I had a lot of my lamps that were the twisty on and off, and I can't do the twisty on and off. You can go to the hardware store. They have the push button where you can push either way to turn it on and off. But it's much easier to use smart switches.
Okay.
And
Before we go to the live questions that we have also too, obviously, if you're going to go to this year's symposium, you'll get to see all of these really cool products too. We also, on our website, if you go under resources, you'll find our list of adaptive devices as well and where to find them. So let's go to Janet first off. Janet? Janet, did you have a question? Okay, maybe we'll go for Joe then. How about Mary?
I wonder if it's because
Yes,
we're in
I have a
person.
question.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
When is the symposium? I don't know anything about it.
Oh my goodness. Go ahead, Pam.
So it is in Alexandria, Virginia. It is October 5th through the 7th. We'll also have finished that with the Washington DC walk on the 8th.
Okay.
You can find out more information and questions and register at our website. Right on the home page, there is a big graphic, and if you just click on that, that will take you to registration.
Could you give me the website again, please?
Sure, it's www.gbs-CIDP.org.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I did have a question about, if I can ask another one, is my husband has tremors. Have you ever tried those non-tremor spoons and forks?
I personally have not, but I have seen them in use. And
Okay.
I do think that they work well. I know they're quite expensive. In a scenario like that, it might be worth contacting an occupational therapist or seeing an occupational therapist, because sometimes they have some of that equipment that you can try before you buy it. So in that situation, I would probably, because it is pretty costly. I think the last time I checked, I want to say they're $100. Don't quote me on this, but I want to say they're between $100 and $200.
Ooh, okay. Thank
I'm
you.
not sure. I haven't checked in a long time, but that's my first route would be I would check with them.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Our next question, we have another Zoom participant.
While we're waiting.
Other Zoom user.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was wondering, when you drive, do you have to use anything to operate the gas and the brake?
No, at this point, fortunately, I wear my AFOs. I'm able to use the gas and the brake without a problem. I did, because technically when you go to renew your license, you have to specify whether you're disabled or not. And I do have disabled placards. And then one of the questions that they ask here in Texas, is it a neurological type thing? So I actually had to retake my driver's test, I want to say at 48 maybe. And I passed, obviously, but that was still something which I found kind of odd, but I had to like take the road test again. And I've not ever had to use any devices like that for driving.
Okay, thank you.
Just to let you know, sometime this November, we will be doing a webinar specifically on driving aids. So stay tuned on that.
Will do. Thank you.
And I think that might be it.
One last thing, one of my favorite things,
Yes.
popsicle holder. I can't hold the regular skinny popsicle stick because it's too hard. It's just too tiny. This is actually called, I guess, a popsicle adapter, and it's really made for kids. There's a little straw, so if it drips, you can drink out what's dripped. But I like it because the handle is chunkier and easier to hold. So
That's
I'm
perfect.
done.
No, that was great. And as we stated, all of these products and more, actually, I think there's one more. Can we take one more? Dan, I believe. Dan McCrary?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I came in late. Will
No
this
worries.
seminar be online? So if we miss part of it, we can go back and look at it?
Mhm.
Available online afterwards?
Yes, yes. We will be sending out a follow-up email and you'll be able to watch this. We are recording it.
Okay, and then the other question that I had, is Amazon a good place to go for many of these, like to do a search? If we did a search on Amazon, what would we look for to try to?
To try to find the products.
Right.
One of the things that I usually do, so say, if I'm trying to find special tweezers or something, I might look for adaptive tweezers
Okay,
or adaptive devices for this, those type things. And then you'll come up with all sorts of different stuff. That's the
Is there-
thing. Go ahead.
are there other websites that we should be exploring, and maybe I missed that?
I could, there are other websites. A lot of those websites are only wholesale dealers, unfortunately. Salmon's Preston is one of them. I can't remember a lot of the others. If you Google, they'll come up, and some of the stuff you can find at your HEB, or you don't have HEB, only in Texas, sorry, at your Walmarts and your Targets and your CVS's. They sometimes have a little section that'll have some adaptive devices.
And the list that we do have on our website has where you can find those items.
And most of the stuff you saw
Awesome.
today is from Amazon.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I think that's it. I want to give a huge thank you to Julie Bell for joining us today. And also thank you to our sponsors for today. And thank you to everyone that participated and watched us today. Don't forget, please visit our website if you haven't already registered for the Foundation's upcoming symposium in October. And thank you again for joining us. We appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye.